Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or dsw.com today and let us surprise you.
You're like, I want the magic, but I don't want to make the magic. Your dream is real.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
I would show up and I'd sing a few songs. I had like a set show, and then I'd be like, and here he is, and he'd come in.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
Somebody going to be screaming and crying and hiding between your legs and being like, I don't like that Santa. Yes, that will happen.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
Had I checked with my family, it was a priority to nobody that I make these incredibly complicated cookies, and then I was mad nobody wanted them.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. Today, we're talking about our holiday goals, which are, we have 2, less doing, more magic.
Yeah, I love this. And I think, this has been thematic for us in a ton of ways. And I think it's really interesting as our kids start to get older and their relationship with Christmas changes, that I'm finding the pushback or my push to kind of scale everything down. It's challenging. Like, although they are kind of aging out of some of the magic of Christmas, they don't want less. That's for sure. I mean, they're not like, let's tone it all down, It's not happening.
I want to start with something one of our listeners, Tiffany, said. She said, I am a make magic girl. I enjoy doing the things I do pick and choose, though. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Are you, because I'm not sure I know the answer, are you a make magic girl? Are you into Christmas?
10,000%. I mean, I love Christmas. I love the magic of it. I loved it as a kid. I still love it as an adult. My nephew was just here and saying, well, when does Christmas really start? And I said, okay, this is not, he said, do you have an opinion on that? I said, I don't have an opinion. I have a fact. Christmas starts the moment Santa appears in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is the beginning of the Christmas season.
That used to be my job. In my younger years, one of my many acting jobs was being Mrs. Santa, not in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but at different malls around the United States. I would show up and I'd sing a few songs. I had like a set show, and then I'd be like, and here he is, and he'd come in. And it was one of my favorite acting jobs ever.
I worked as an elf at the World Trade Center. That tells you a little bit how long ago this was, for a real bearded Santa. And I can't say I loved it. It paid really well. It was like $500 a day, that gig. It was such a good gig.
Which, right, for an out-of-work actor back then was a lot of money.
I could write an essay about it, except for that David Sedaris has already written the, formative essay on being a Christmas elf. But
yeah, he got a whole career out of it.
90% of the job is keeping children from assaulting Santa. Like, it's funny. Like, you're basically a Secret Service agent dressed in a merry way, because kids, sweet, gigantic 12-year-old kids would take a running leap from like 10 feet away to leap upon Santa's lap. And he was a real beard Santa. He was an older gentleman, and
he was a human being.
He couldn't handle
his beard was real.
everything was real, and
so was his bad hip.
And yeah, exactly. He could not handle the leaping children.
So make magic. Am I a make magic girl? I'm going to ask myself that, and the answer is sometimes. Definitely, when my kids were little, I really dug it. This year, I am not feeling it. For many reasons, I am not really feeling it this year. And I'm like Hodor, and the people at the door are like, when you have your kids' lists, I really want to get started on my shopping, or here's my kids' list so you can get started on your shopping. And I'm like, go away. I don't want to do it this year, but I do. I mean, it's also the only thing that will save me.
Yeah, I am similar. I had a long talk with my sister yesterday, who I think is feeling this times 10. And what we came to is lean in with boundaries, basically. Like I think sometimes this time of year can obviously, for a lot of reasons, be depressing and kind of remind you of what's not there. You know, we've both lost parents, and I think that it comes up really hard around the holidays, and there's a lot that can feel bad. And I don't think it's smart to try to be in denial about that and be like, what? I'm just a merry elf. There's nothing wrong. It's okay to say, like, this is a time of year where I really miss my mom, miss my dad. Those are very real feelings. But I think sometimes there's a temptation, and especially when we feel like the merrymakers and put upon in those ways, to kind of cut off our nose to spite our own face, truly. You know, that like, I'm going to show everyone how miserable I am by being a Grinch. And I think that instinct, because, and I think we've talked about this with birthdays, I think it can become a little bit like, I have a huge tendency to do this on my birthday. I know my husband's going to mess it up. I know he doesn't have enough prepared. So rather than say anything about that or do any guidance, I'm going to sit back like, who's the guy in Lord of the Rings who like, my precious. Gollum. Like Gollum, I'm going to stroke the orb of how everyone has failed me.
I feel like it's a little different that, you know, we talked about being kin keepers earlier this year, a term that was new to me at the time, but I certainly know what it is. And I am the kin keeper. I'm the tree decorator, present spreadsheet keeper. And I don't feel like doing it this year. And it isn't necessarily that I want to like make sure everybody has a lame holiday season. It's that I want somebody else to do it this year. I want somebody else to keep me instead of being the kin keeper this year. But it's probably not going to happen. So you need to like figure out how to get going. Get some hot chocolate or something and get moving.
I think we often have the advice, and I think it can feel like another job and frustrating to invite people into the kin keeping with us and to kind of give voice to that, to say, hey, for whatever reason, I'm really struggling this time of year. You know, my husband has been traveling for work a ton. And I was kind of like, you ingrates, you don't even see that I'm doing this all by myself. And I kind of had to check myself at a certain point. And I sat my kids down and I said, listen, I need more help. As you know, Dad's off in the great beyond. So I really need you all to pitch in and be my helpers, because I'm struggling to get everything done. And I feel like my kids, it doesn't mean that they suddenly like don elf hats and are like, well, I will do everything and it'll be fun. But
leave it to me.
I think it's fine to invite people in. You know, my sister and I had a really frank conversation and said, like, let's do gift exchanges and let's lean in on what the present lists really look like and who can we take off of them and how can we do it less. You know, we were originally kind of like, let's just forget it and just forget about gifts this year. And after a week, I think that both of us kind of felt like that's going to feel depressing, but the instinct is coming from a real place. So like, can we find a solution?
Well, so we asked our listeners.
Oh, I know they're going to solve it for us.
They are. There's some really good level setting advice in this episode. So we asked our listeners on our Facebook group and page. You can find them both at What Fresh Hell Cast or just searching What Fresh Hell Podcast on Facebook. We asked, how do you resist the urge to do all the things for and with your family members during the holidays? which is funny. For us, it's like, how do you get the urge to do any of the things is what we've been talking about so far. But this is, how do you resist the urge to do everything, feel bad when you're falling short? How do you lessen the burden while retaining the magic? Because, I want the magic. I don't want the burden. That's what we're all about.
And I will say, before we dive into our brilliant listeners, that I think that sometimes we feel this very strongly before the season begins. It's like seasonal dread in a way. And then I sometimes find that like once I get the lit candy canes up and I'm playing the music, it carries me along a little bit.
Uh-huh. I think you're right. Well, Lisa had some advice that I think is maybe worthwhile for me. Lisa says she lessens her time around the people who do all the things. And she sticks to 2 or 3 traditions, makes it more special than doing all the things and cramming it in.
Huge. This is something that I'm working on as I get into like the college season of my life is just, as you say, like putting that slip of paper, taking that extra breath when I'm involved in conversations that are like, well, my child with their 12 APs and 8 varsity letters and 19, buildings that they've built are, and that feeling comes up of like, why are you attacking me? And why are you this way? And why are you stabbing me in the face? And trying to kind of say, that's the way they've chosen to do things. And we have chosen to do things a different way. And both of those things are actually fine.
Yes, that's right. The person who has all of her Christmas shopping done already, except for your kid, and she's asked, 3 times for the list, and a list that you are somehow responsible for preparing in today's world, that's you can feel anxiety from that, which is not intentional. That is just somebody doing it differently than you do it, right? And you can say, I don't have that.
Cassie says the day after Thanksgiving and the day after Christmas are our days we look forward to. We don't schedule anything on those days with people outside of our household. The day after Christmas is my favorite day of the whole year to just wear pajamas all day, snack to our heart's content, and enjoy gifts.
Yeah, I kind of feel like nobody expects you to do anything else the day after Christmas. Maybe it's like pile in the car and go see Aunt Martha, but I feel like everybody just stays home the day after Christmas.
I mean, the day after Christmas is my sister's birthday, so we're just rolling right into birthday celebrations.
Oh, you roll right into that.
I will say this is not a tip for everyone, but this is how we do it, and it works for me. Your mileage may vary, as they used to say on the internet back in the day. The day after Thanksgiving, I find that I often have 20 people still hanging around at my house who need something to do. And, we decorate the whole house for Christmas because I got 20 people. I got 40 hands. I'm like, let's go.
Right.
We're turning on Christmas music and the kids are generally really into it. And it's free labor for me. And it's a fun activity. And we get a big tray of bagels and hot cocoa and turn on the music and let's all decorate the house. It's kind of a trick on my part because I'm just forcing people to put up decorations in my house. And then by that day, it's all done. I don't know. And it's like, okay, we're rolling right from one thing to the next. I like it.
That's a great idea. We have both sides of our family this year are gathering in the same town because my husband and I are from the same town. Anyway, and big families. We're going to have like 24 kids between the ages of 2 and 21 staying at various houses. And that day after Thanksgiving, that weekend is like, now what? That can get a little long. I feel like day after Christmas, you're playing with your new toys.
Now come decorate my house for free. That's my answer.
Right. The day after Thanksgiving, if you're not going to Best Buy at 5 a.m., then what are you doing all day? So my husband, smart idea, he called up a local grade school and we're renting their gym for a couple of hours for not very much money. And we're going to let those kids descend and run around, which I think will buy us some peace before and after.
Yeah, especially on the Northeast, it's often cold. And so you can't really do the like, all right, here's a football, everyone go play in the yard.
Michelle, I love this idea. And a lot of listeners had different versions that she and her kids talk about the top 3 most important Christmas things to do. You ask your kids what they are. Everybody has their 3. Maybe you don't do everybody's all 3, but if somebody's appears on more than one list, you do. So she asked her kids for the top 3 Christmas things, and 2 of them were watch Muppet Christmas Carol. Okay, I think I can arrange that pretty easily. Okay, yes. And to do a Christmas Eve dance party. Michelle says, we started this in Christmas 2020 because it was depressing because they weren't going to see anybody. They wanted to make it fun, so they had a Christmas Eve dance party, and now her kids are like, okay, number one, we're definitely doing our Christmas Eve dance party, and number two, we're watching a movie.
I love this idea, too, because I think that we sometimes, as the magic makers and the kin keepers, are like, oh, then we've got to have the screening of Rudolph, and then I've got to make that crab soup that I make, and then I've got to, blah, 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 and I've got to do the special box that I wrap with new pajamas and packs of hot cocoa. That's a now thing that we've done. And I really like the idea of asking your kids, because I think there can be times where this is the famous story that I've told many times that my grandmother told my mother, how could you have Thanksgiving without cream white onions? And my mother spent hours making cream white onions and passed them to my grandmother, who said, oh, I don't really like them.
Right.
And right. You just think that there should be cream white onions on the table because you used to have them in 1911 on the table, And I really like this idea of focusing in on what are the things that are important? And we do they started during the pandemic too. This area, they have a dam that has a little driving area around it. And there's drive-through, light up, silly things, like a light up elf throwing presents and stuff. My kids still love it. And they're teenagers, but it's that's part of our tradition. There's a restaurant we go to and that's what we do.
Yeah. And what it isn't roasting chestnuts one by one, right? It's like driving them to see these lights. I think I can manage that. Okay. We'll be back with even more ways to do less and make more merry.
Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com. Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING.
This is another Amy. She has some very good advice. She says, I try to remember that some things will just be better once the kids are older. This is not the year to decorate a gingerbread house because they're too little. There is time for the complicated stuff, and that time may be next year.
I so second, third, and fourth this. And having kids who are grown, someone was asking the other day about picky eaters on the Facebook group. And I thought, I had the pickiest eaters in the world, and Amy had older kids and would say, I don't know, they just grew out of it. I'm like, no. Tell me how, tell me when, tell me what date they stopped just eating a roll at Thanksgiving. And the reality is now I don't remember. But now my kids, I mean, I just put stuff on the table and they eat it, you know? And are there kids who don't still love salad? There are. And are there kids who there are certain things they will not eat? There are. But I do think that the making a gingerbread house is merry. If it's not, it's great to acknowledge that, you know?
Right. Or leave it for next year or leave it for not this year. Although I will say Target and Trader Joe's both make gingerbread houses where everything's like pre-cut. I mean, they are easy. Like a 5-year-old can do this with a little bit of advice. So it's like you're guaranteed to succeed if you get one of those gingerbread houses. It doesn't have to be ready for good housekeeping.
Yeah, although someone just gave us a Halloween-themed one very nicely. They came over for something and brought a Halloween-themed gingerbread house.
A Halloween gingerbread house.
And the amount of guilt I felt not assembling that Halloween gingerbread house, it crushed me. And then I finally just put it in the closet. And I was like, well, maybe we'll do it later. Or maybe one cold day in February we'll make it. But we just didn't get to it. I'm sorry.
Well, you have to be aware of that stuff too, I think, right? Like my kids and their cousins used to get very complicated Lego things when they were really too young to put them together. And so it turned into watch my father-in-law put them together, and then somebody would bump it, 2 hours into the process, and there'd be wretched sobbing because it fell apart. It's like, why are we getting a 6-year-old a 7,000-piece Lego set? This isn't so they can watch their grandfather put it together. This doesn't seem like making Christmas bright.
And while he says bad words. Exactly. Anna says, it's okay if everything isn't every year. Most years we decorate cookies, but sometimes we don't. We often do the zoo light tour, but sometimes we don't. You can do it next year if this year isn't the year. Make your absolutely must-do list very short.
I love this.
And I go back to that suggestion of talking to your kids. I mean, I think that I sometimes feel, it's a famous story in my family where I had my grandmother and her sister both lived into their 90s. And when I was in high school, they were in their 90s. And I would go every Sunday as a high schooler and drive over and pick them up and take them to church and then take them to IHOP afterwards and then drive them home. It was like my good deed. I was like, polish up my halo. I'm going straight to heaven. Every Sunday, I'm taking Grandma and Mary to church and IHOP. And then at some point, my grandmother said to my mother, oh, sweet Meg, she just loves IHOP. Like she didn't want to go. I was dragging them to the IHOP, basically. And I think that you have to watch that you're not dragging people to the IHOP thinking you're doing such a good deed,
Mm-hmm. This was good advice I hadn't really considered. Tiffany says she tries to stay off social media more in December to avoid the feeling I should be doing all the things. We have plenty of fun things we already do. I don't want to feel the need to do more because of what others are sharing. I think this is definitely true. I mean, I live in New York City. And so you see people like, we're at the Rockettes, we're at the Nutcracker, here we are. And then you think like, oh, shoot, I need to figure out a day for us to go to the Nutcracker. I mean, maybe next year, right? Maybe never. Maybe nobody really wants to go in your house. But if you look at social media, you feel like you have to be, have all your kids in their matching tartan plaid outfits in front of the tree.
Yeah. And then I think that sometimes when you do something, my mother-in-law and I took my daughter to the Nutcracker when she was maybe 7 or 8. She was in the tartan plaid with the bow and the big skirt. And
you're there for the gram.
We were so there for the gram. We were taking pictures in front of the fountain at Lincoln Center, and we went and we had a great time. And I do think maybe we went in 2019. And so then it was 2020 and there was no Nutcracker, whatever happened. But then it can easily feel like, now we go to the Nutcracker every year. Oh, we have to go to the Nutcracker. And my husband and I used to love in Los Angeles, they have a sing-along Messiah They do Handel's Messiah with a beautiful chorale, but then you sing along with the big choruses. And we loved it. And then we moved to New York and, what are we going to do about our sing-along Messiah? That's our tradition. We went to one in the city and it was genuinely not as fun. It just wasn't, I don't know, they didn't do it as well. For us, it wasn't the same. And the next year we're like, okay, we found ourselves sort of like painfully buying another round of tickets to the bad sing-along Messiah. And then we thought, we could just not go. We could just not go to the Messiah. What about that concept? But it's funny how weirdly your brain is like, must slog through the Messiah sing-along because it's what we do.
I have like the opposite thing, an opportunity being presented to me right now for Christmas, which is in Brooklyn. There's a neighborhood in Brooklyn called Diker Heights, where people just go ham with the Christmas decorations.
Yep.
I've never been. I've only heard about it. It's like that Jingle All the Way movie come to real life. And it's one of these things like, oh, it's bucket list. You have to go. You have to see the lights in Diker Heights, which for people who aren't from New York City, it's like an hour and 20 minutes from my apartment, also in New York City.
You have to see the sights in North Carolina.
Fly to Omaha to see the lights. Right. Like, okay, maybe I'll do that. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Anyway, there's this fun, like, it's called Grab Your Group and Go. And I love it. And it's in New York, like, grab your group and go. We're going to go to this museum. We're going to go to this show. And so they're like, we're doing it. We have a bus. We're going to Diker Heights. There will be cocktails served in the bus. Grab your women friends. We are going to Diker Heights. And now it's like being handed to me. All I have to do is show up and get on the bus.
That's your dream. You're like, I want the magic, but I don't want to make the magic. Your dream is real.
I don't want to make the magic. Right. But now I'm like, do I want to go? So I'm going. I'm telling you guys, I'm going because I know if I do, I'm going to come back like, you have to go see these lights. And right, I'm being given a very easy opportunity to go if I want to.
And I think that's also a good question because I do find myself, and I think it is lingering from the pandemic a little bit. I don't want to. You know, I mean, we're doing our live shows and stuff, and it's much harder to get an audience to come out to stuff. And it's interesting because I just think that people have fallen in love with their sofas. God bless them. Their sofas are comfy and there's good stuff on TV. I get it. But I think the flip side of you don't have to go to the Nutcracker every year is watch the story of, I don't want to do anything. Like, are you just falling out of the habit of, would it be fun to all pile in the car and put on the horrible Christmas, this light show that we go to has a radio station that plays Christmas music, but it's like Backstreet Boys singing like some song that's called like, Don't Miss Me, Santa. I mean, it's torture basically, but like, it is fun, you know? And so I think you have to balance those two things.
We need a new album. You know, there was that like Christmas covers album. It was like from the 80s with Run DMC and Whitney Houston and stuff. And they're still playing that song. Like it's a great album.
Do you hear what I hear? That was Whitney.
Right. And they still play those like 8 songs every year because we don't have a new one. We need like a Billie Eilish.
I think we might be old, no offense, but I think there are, like when I turn on like the Christmas station, it's a lot of Carrie Underwood, and I just think,
right,
this is sacrilege. Where is Nat King Cole? I like the oldies. Nobody's had, I mean, Mariah's got the market covered with All I Want for Christmas Is You. No one else has been able to break that market.
That might just be all I need. Maybe I just need to put that on and get in that holiday spirit.
Yeah, I really like, here's an insider tip. Josh Groban has a great Christmas album. I love it. I mean, I love his voice, but he's got a really good one.
Anyway, like you're right. Getting myself on this bus to go look at these Christmas lights, I'm sure it will be like a laugh and a half, and I'll come back glad I went. Just like when you go to any show or museum or whatever, like, I'm glad I did that.
No, it's like going to the gym. You have to push through a little bit, and that it doesn't seem right because there's also sunken cost fallacy where you think, well, I have to go and be miserable the whole time because I bought tickets. You don't have to go.
Right.
But watch that story that is, I already took my bra off. Like, you'd be happy going to Diker.
I just want to stay home.
I'm going to be your phone a friend and call you and be like, you have to go. Get on the bus. Are you on the bus?
Hannah says you have to be careful of what you think you should be doing. She says for her family, zoo lights, hell no. It sounds like it will be fun. This is Hannah talking. Sounds like it will be fun, but really it's cold, wet, crowded, and often the kids are too tired and overstimulated. It comes down to focusing less on what is supposed to be fun and being honest about what will actually feel festive and not sweaty and yelling at each other.
I mean, you're going to have some of that, by the way. If you have kids under 10, you're going to have sweaty and non-festive moments during the holidays.
Well, that's it. Like this bus to Diker Heights to look at the lights, there's no 4-year-olds on this bus. You know, it's all like ladies with cocktails. Yeah. And I do think if you have multiple kids, I mean, I had 3 very closely spaced. My kids are 18 months apart. The probability of 3 of them having a great time was pretty much 0 for 4 years. You know, you had to kind of take some pain to do any of it. Was somebody going to be screaming and crying and hiding between your legs and being like, I don't like that Santa? Yes, that will happen. 100%.
100% chance.
Jessica has really good advice. She says, I try to cut down on the other stuff. No doctor's appointments or dentist appointments in December. We don't do extracurriculars in December when we can. I try to take as much of the other stuff off our plates.
Yeah, because it's true that when you have older kids, you also have like midterm exams. I mean, and the Christmas concert.
Concerts, right, and the other concert.
You really don't need to add a lot of activities. Like you're going to be sitting there through the like beard so white, snow so white, whatever, like Christmas concert.
Yeah.
And if you've got 3 kids like I do, you're going to 3 of them. And then you've got a lot of studying and reviewing and midterms. And that's right. It's funny. I have a couple of people who I've been meaning to catch up with. And I'm like, well, I guess now I have to do it in January. Like I certainly am not going to catch up with them in December.
Yeah, it's already the can we push season.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I remember joking mid-August that I was like, well, Happy New Year, everyone, because it does. Like back to school slides right into Halloween, slides right into Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays, and it's New Year's.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be back with even more ideas for less doing and more magic. All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that, taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
I'm Livy Dunn, All-American gymnast and Viore athlete. When you travel and train as much as I do, you find happiness where you are. On the mat or on the sand, movement and comfort are essential. That's why I live in Performance Joggers by Viore. Made from DreamNet fabric that's made of 89% recycled materials, effortlessly soft and made to move as much as I do. My happiness starts here, in the softest joggers on the planet. Get 20% off your first purchase at Viore.com/Livy. That's VUORI.com/LIVVY. Exclusions apply. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to Viore.com/Livy and discover the full versatility of Viore clothing. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions.
And now, 8 things that will happen to you this holiday season.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Number 8, your suggestion that your kids should add books to their holiday list because they might not be as exciting right away, but will yield deeper and more meaningful results in the long run was ignored. again.
Number 7, your child's performance of Snowy Day on the bassoon is somehow, once again, dead last on the holiday concert schedule. You'll be sitting through every other grade's program before it starts, no matter what grade they happen to be in. We don't know how that's possible, but it is.
Number 6, you forgot to move Elf on the shelf, even though you spent 2 hours on Pinterest yesterday looking at cute ideas.
Number 5, your spouse has done all of his Christmas shopping in 25 minutes. You won't know who he has forgotten until it is too late. It is you who will be in trouble.
Number 4, your demand of only one big item per holiday list was interpreted very loosely by your offspring.
Number 3, when anyone describes how magical their holiday was, you will mutter under your breath, "That was me. It was me all along."
Number 2, you will read your child's wish list and realize that somehow they think you make $25 million a year.
Number 1, you will promise yourself that this year there is absolutely no reason to overdo it, no reason to over-purchase, over-nog, over everything, and you will overdo it anyway.
This has been 8 things that will happen to you this holiday season.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Amy, I like this idea from Elizabeth. We focus on our immediate family during the holidays and put our major travel to see families at other times of the year that are more conducive to travel and having a fun time summer, and B, not already packed with crazy school events, also summer.
I mean, this goes back to what I was saying before about in Pennsylvania in November on a, rainy morning in the 40s, you need to figure out somewhere for all these kids to go. They can't just go in the yard. Or maybe they can if you're 1,000 hours outside kind of family.
Parent,
but
yes.
You might get some resistance. So anyway,
No such thing as bad weather.
Yeah. So it's these things are easier in the summer when you're not also supposed to be at the other person's house and the other person's house and the party.
Yeah, but this also makes me think that one of the things we haven't discussed in this, how we're making decisions and the decision tree, is that there are a lot of expectations that other people have at this season. So it's not just you saying we have to watch Rudolph because that's our tradition. It's also often everyone in your extended family saying, well, we have to be together. We have to see you during this season. And those boundaries, and this is a whole discussion that we've had on a bunch of other episodes, you have to really talk those things through, I think, because, people saying, well, you have to this and you have to that, it's not always just as easy as saying, like, we've set our boundaries and no, and we're just doing immediate family. You can definitely do that, but I mean, I know for our family, we try to alternate with my husband's family or my family every year, and that's what works for us. And then, on one side, we have 2 separate families, so it's like, okay, who's seeing who when, and keeping things balanced. And then if you have large extended families, as we do, the gift thing gets very quickly out of control, and it becomes kind of, as you've said, like the great gift card exchange, like here's your Best Buy and exchange, right. Here's your Cheesecake Factory or whatever. And the kind of, I think it's worth having conversations about different people's needs and working from your place of maximum generosity, that sometimes it's easy to kind of demonize the other people in that story and like, oh, that person always wants this and we need to set our boundaries. Which it sounds like I'm making fun of, but like, I just think everybody does have different needs, and these are people's parents, who have always spent their time with their kids at the holidays. And you can absolutely make any choices you want, but I think it's worth just a discussion about what the expectations are and whether or not those expectations can be reasonably met.
This gets really hard. I mean, I remember so well when the kids were very little, right? Like the new baby at Christmas, the nativity child that's in your arms that's going from this one's house to that one's house, and whoever's house you're not at, they're asking you when you're getting there, and the house that you are at, they're saying you're leaving already. It can be really extra stressful to be letting somebody down. Like, what do you mean you're leaving? And whoever's on her way over to see the baby. And it can be hard to be in a series of situations where you're letting somebody down, even though you're really trying your best. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do what's best for you.
And with young kids, there's so many expectations around, they're going to love this. They're going to love it. And spoiler alert, they're going to cry. They're not going to love it. My grandmother, she's coming up a lot today on the podcast. She famously crocheted my brother and worked on it for months, a Santa Claus. And it had bells. It was like a kind of stretchy Santa. And it had bells on the hands. And she must have worked on it for months. And it really was objectively an amazing piece of craft work. And it was presented on Christmas morning. And my brother was, of course, terrified of it, to the degree that he cried the whole time. And then when she tried to leave, when she left for the night, chased her down the street, being like, you forgot this. He really didn't want it in the house. He was terrified of it. And I think lots of people are good at handling those situations, and lots of people are, we told it as a funny story, but sometimes people get their feelings hurt about things, and the expectation. I mean, famously, we had a Christmas where my parents had bought the grandchildren bicycles, and it was the big, like, this is the year you're old enough for bikes. So here are 2 or 3 bikes under the Christmas tree that, I'm sure were expensive. And the kids came down, and there were also Pokemon cards with the bicycles. That was like another thing under the tree. And they practically pushed the bikes out of the way to get to the Pokemon cards. And that's all they cared about. Their eyes did not linger for a second on these bikes. And I think all you can do with those situations is talk in advance and say, I know my kid would love the full set of this set of books, but understand that their Christmas reaction is not going to be as great as if you bought them 9,000 Hershey bars wrapped up or whatever. But
keyring nonsense, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever cushy or flippy toy that they
Squishmallow of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they will actually read these books for 5 years, and they will add a tremendous amount of value to their lives. But are you okay with the fact that on Christmas morning, if you want the, Jack in the Box joy of seeing them grab something and hug it and run around, then get them a Squishmallow. That's what you should get them. Mm-hmm. I do think that giving visibility on the overall experience is important.
This is funny. I hadn't really thought about this, but like in our own family, there was, a year that beautiful handcrafted rocking horse with somebody's name on it was given as the they're gonna love it gift. Reader, they did not love it. They wanted to play with the Star Wars thing.
They moved right on to the Star Wars Legos.
Right. That was not. And so when the same people who have come up with they'll love this crochet Santa and they don't, are now hounding you for, please just tell me what they actually want. And you're like, stop bothering me. It does come out of I just want them to be happy. Right. And
I think the whole time of the year is a good time for maximum generosity in terms of those things. And, that's right. The grandma who's maybe calling you in October to be like, well, what do they want? What do they want? And you're like, are you kidding me? I am still sewing a Raggedy Ann costume.
Right.
Right. They've had the experience of, they want to just make it joyful. And I think you can also work with your kids on this. And this is something, as your kids get older, you can have the meeting on Christmas Eve and say, listen, tomorrow's going to be really exciting. You're going to get a lot of exciting things that you want, and some things that you don't want, and some things that you aren't as excited about now, but you'll be excited about later. You have one job on Christmas, which is making everyone who's gone out of their way to get you something feel good about that effort. That's your job. You're going to receive a lot, and you have one thing to give, which is your joy, even if you don't feel it in the exact moment. Now, you can't really do that with a 3-year-old who's getting the rocking horse. That's, people have to understand. And some people, for the record, definitely don't and will be really, really mad.
Emily says one way to make things easier is to try deciding once and keep notes, she says, so you can adjust over the years and let muscle memory take over. So I do have a Christmas spreadsheet that I use every year. Yeah, and you just start over and erase everything that was in column B, and you're starting over, but you have your list already. You're not going to forget somebody. And of course, living in New York, you have different everybody's got like, oh, I have to think of the woman who colors my hair, right? And the, my kid's karate teacher, what am I going to get for them? In New York, that's even more because you have the people who work in apartment buildings and things. So I have a long list of those people, but I have it ready to go. And that's the kind of thing that you can outsource to to your kids. This needs to happen. As a family, we're going to thank these people. Here you go. Here's a pen. Get writing.
Pick up a pen, start writing. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that's about really spreading out the less work, more magic. I mean, kids are excited about doing the magic part, right? About the like leaving out the cookies with their toddler cousin. That part's exciting. It's a little less exciting to get them excited about writing tip envelopes for their baseball coach, but that makes it better for you. And I think it's always okay for older kids, to see that there is work, that it feels magic, but it's not actually magic. There's a lot of hard work involved and appreciation that has to go into it, which can be hard for kids to detach from that.
I think that, we've talked a lot about that. I feel like this is one thing I've really changed my mind about by doing the podcast is like, what are our family values? Really having that conversation, knowing what you value, and then kind of running stuff past that list. Like, well, my family value is that family comes first, but we have 8 kids in 23 sports, so we never see each other. Okay, that's in conflict with our family values. Are we making that decision in a short term? Like, just actually thinking things through and not letting life kind of carry you along. And I think that it's really worth doing that. I'm really going to do that after this conversation, is sit down with my family and say, what do we want this Christmas to look like? And then for yourself saying, what do I want Christmas to look like? Do I want it to look like everybody's happy but me? Do I want it to look like the SNL skit, I got a robe,
Right.
Or is it worth saying to my family, I'm going to make all these cookies. I'm going to organize the decorations. I'm going to do all of these things. But I'd love you all, and say it in front of your spouse. Like, I'd love you all to really think about how you can make it great for me or whatever. Like, having these conversations, I think that's where a lot of the rub comes in, is sort of skipping the part where we say, what if we could really think about what this looks like?
Cassie says, make sure you're doing the highest leverage things. And I have the perfect example of this. A couple Christmases ago, there is a kind of cookie from the part of Pennsylvania where I'm from. It's called a pepper cookie. And I've looked at it. I think it's really actually like from my area. Maybe I'll find a good recipe for you. I'll put the link in the show notes because it's amazing. It's kind of like having a chai tea flavored cookie. It does have a little bit of pepper in it. It has like 24 ingredients. And I decided that I was going to make Christmas bright one year by making these pepper cookies, which require sifting flour and adding approximately 7,000 things, right? In my mother-in-law's house, by the way. So I do this. I make these incredibly complicated cookies, and they're cooling. And then another relative walks in with a bag of these pepper cookies purchased at the local bakery. Well, guess which ones everybody ate, right? Well, I seized with rage that nobody wanted to eat the pepper cookies that I spent 2 hours making because the ones from the bakery were better because they know how to make them. That was not a high leverage activity for me. Nobody cared about it but me. Everybody was happy to eat the ones from the bakery. Had I checked with my family, it was a priority to nobody that I make these incredibly complicated cookies. And then I was mad nobody wanted them.
Yeah, the definite lane that you're looking to avoid is everybody's having fun but you. And everybody's merry and you're absolutely miserable.
They're eating those pepper cookies instead of my pepper cookies that I work so hard on.
Yeah. And I think that, we've talked about this. It's a very difficult balance. And I don't like it when it becomes like, well, just do less, Mom. You're putting it all on yourself, Mom. That's not true. You're the kin keeper. You are being looked to create all of this wonder. But our only locus of control is figuring out what our limits and our joyfulness comes from. I was just thinking, during the pandemic, we went ice skating in Rockefeller Center under the tree, the 5 of us. And now we've been doing it every year. And it's incredibly expensive. Like, it's really expensive. And that's one that's worth sitting down and saying, where are we enjoying this on a level of 1 to 10? Because if we do this, we're going to cut out some other stuff. Because driving through the
The belly of the beast.
Lights probably costs $25, and going to Rockefeller Center probably costs $500. So are we making the right choices? But if you skip the conversation, you're never going to know. I have one more really practical one before we wrap up. Put a sticker on the best wrapped present and open it last. This is like the one thing that has ruined Christmas many times at our house. So that if you know you're getting your kids, socks, underwear, some school supplies, and an iPod, what am I, 9 million, and a laptop or whatever, the big thing they want. Put a sticker on the laptop, know where the laptop is, hide it behind the tree.
In your building.
And make sure that gets opened last. Because we've often had the Christmas where like one kid's last gift is, a new guitar, and the other kid's last gift is underwear or socks. And it leaves us with a bad feeling. Put a sticker, save the best gift for last.
My takeaway, I'm going to go with what Michelle says. She says, I ask myself, what do I want my kids to remember about the holidays growing up, and try to focus my attention there. And it makes me think when you're talking about the ice skating at Rockefeller Center, I mean, your kids will have that memory and they'll love it. And so maybe it's worth leaning into. And maybe it's like, okay, but they'll have that memory. We've done it. We don't need to keep doing it. We've checked that box. Or they might say it's the most important thing in their Christmas season for all three of them. And then you say, okay, I guess we're going to do it. But you check, you make sure.
Yeah, because it's always surprising. We've done for people's birthdays and stuff, like people write stories about the person. It's like a little birthday book with a lot of stories. And everyone who's had one done always says how surprising it is what the thing. We did one for my dad, and one of the nieces said whenever we went, he would be setting up the volleyball net when we got there. Like he always remembered. He was always trying to make it fun for us. He said, I have no memory of ever doing that. I don't. And like, that's where I think it's so great to have these conversations and say, what is fun? What is magic? And you definitely don't want your own memories of the holiday to be like, Christmas stinks. Everyone has fun but me.
That's right. That's right. Make more magic.
Yeah, make the right magic.
Right.
Yeah. Make the high value magic, the high leverage magic.
Work magicer, not harder.
There you go, Amy. You have indeed solved it.
Do you subscribe to our newsletter about once a month? You subscribe to it. Yeah, so do I.
I do. I subscribe. I love to hear what we're up to.
Well, I mean, if you want to know what we're up to, what book events I might have coming up, what Fresh Hell live shows we might have coming up, where else you can find us, we send it once a month. We're not going to hound you. It's the perfect way to find out, oh, you know what else we put in there? The things that we're watching and reading and things. It's not, you won't hear it on the podcast. You only get it in the newsletter. And here's how you get it. You go to whatfreshhellpodcast.com. There's a link in the sidebar. You sign up, or we'll put the link in the show notes for this episode. Get the newsletter once a month, and then you'll never have to wonder if the Facebook algorithm is showing you that cool episode with the great guest or not.
Love it. Everyone, go subscribe. And with that,
happy holidays.
Go make magic, everyone. Leverage that high value magic. And we'll talk to you next week.
So long.